Section 1. I like killing people because it is so much fun. Those words were typed by a real person, mailed to a real newspaper, boasted about in public, and never punished. The Zodiac Killer claimed at least 5 lives in Northern California between 1968 and 1969. But he insisted the number was much higher. 37, he wrote. Some investigators believe it was more. He was never caught. But what most people don't know is that the story of the Zodiac isn't just about the killer. It's about the victims who never made the headlines, the coded letters that took 50 years to crack, and the chilling possibility that he walked among ordinary people for decades. This is the Zodiac Killer, and this is what they didn't tell you. Section 2. The known victims. Most people, if asked about the Zodiac's victims, would struggle to name more than 2. That's not an accident. It's a failure of how this case has been told. The confirmed victims are David Faraday and Betty Lou Jensen, both teenagers, shot on a rural road outside Vallejo on December 20th, 1968. Then Darlene Ferrin and Michael Mageau, attacked in a parking lot on July 4th, 1969. Mageau survived. Ferrin did not. Then Brian Hartnell and Cecilia Shepard, a couple studying at Pacific Union College. They were attacked at Lake Berryessa in September 1969. Hartnell survived. Shepard did not. And finally, Paul Stein, a San Francisco taxi driver, shot in the back of the head just weeks later. 5 confirmed dead, 2 survivors. But here's where it gets complicated. The victims nobody talks about. Darlene Ferrin is rarely the focus of Zodiac documentaries, but people who knew her say she was frightened in the weeks before her death. A man in a white car had been watching her. She told friends she knew something she shouldn't have. Who was this man? Was he the Zodiac? Police never found a definitive answer. And then there's Cheri Jo Bates, an 18-year-old murdered in Riverside, California in October 1966, 2 years before the official Zodiac timeline begins. Investigators received a letter after her death, signed in a style eerily similar to the Zodiac's. Was she his first? The FBI believes there may be a connection. The Riverside Police Department officially does not agree. Cheri Jo Bates does not appear on most Zodiac victim lists. Her name is rarely spoken, but she deserves to be remembered. Section 3. The letters. The Zodiac sent at least 37 letters to newspapers and police departments. Some included greeting cards. Some included bloody pieces of clothing from his victims. And 4 of them contained ciphers, complex coded messages that he claimed would reveal his identity. The first cipher, known as the Z408, was sent in 3 parts to 3 different newspapers simultaneously in July 1969. The Zodiac demanded they be published on the front page, or he would go on a killing spree. They published it. A high school teacher named Donald Harden and his wife Betty cracked the Z408 within a week. It did not reveal his name. Instead, it read like a manifesto, a man who believed that killing gave him power over death itself, that his victims would become his slaves in the afterlife. But the second cipher, the Z340, resisted every attempt at decryption for over 50 years. The Z340, cracked in 2020. In December 2020, a team of amateur codebreakers announced they had solved the Z340. It took a software algorithm, an Australian mathematician, and a Belgian statistician working together to do what the FBI, NSA, and world's greatest cryptographers couldn't. The decoded message? No name, no address, just more taunting, more psychological theater. The Zodiac wrote, and I'm paraphrasing, that he was not afraid of the gas chamber because he had enough slaves for the afterlife. He enjoyed the game more than the killing. That, perhaps, is the most disturbing thing of all. 2 other ciphers, the Z13 and Z32, have never been fully solved. Section 4. The suspects. Over 2,500 suspects have been investigated in connection with the Zodiac killings. That number alone tells you something. This case has consumed investigators, journalists, and amateur sleuths for over 5 decades. The most famous suspect is Arthur Lee Allen, a convicted child molester and former schoolteacher from Vallejo. He matched the physical description. He owned a Zodiac watch. He lived near the crime scenes. He was investigated 3 times. He was never charged. DNA taken from the back of stamps on Zodiac's letters did not match Allen. But investigators argued the Zodiac may have had someone else seal his envelopes precisely because he knew DNA evidence would eventually be used. In 2021, a private investigation group called the Case Breakers publicly named a different suspect, a man named Gary Francis Post, who died in 2018. They claimed to have found anagrams of his name in the ciphers. The FBI declined to comment. The Vallejo Police Department did not endorse the claim. As of today, the Zodiac Killer remains officially unidentified. Section 5, the last letter. The last confirmed letter from the Zodiac arrived in January 1974. It referenced a film, The Exorcist. He gave himself a score, Zodiac 37, SFPD 0. And then he went quiet. No more letters. No more ciphers. No more crimes attributed to him with certainty. Some believe he died. Some believe he stopped. Some believe he simply got better at hiding. The San Francisco Police Department officially closed the active investigation in 2004, citing a lack of new leads. They have never closed the case entirely. Decades later, people still write to newspapers calling themselves a Zodiac. Every few years, a new theory surfaces, a new name, a new cipher analysis. But Darlene Ferrin is still dead. Cecilia Shepard is still dead. Paul Stein is still dead. And Cheri Jo Bates, whether or not she was his first, is still dead. The Zodiac wanted to be remembered as a monster with power over life and death. What we should remember instead is this. He was a coward who targeted people who couldn't fight back. And somewhere out there, his identity, his ordinary human identity, may still exist in a filing cabinet, an old yearbook, or a database waiting for the right algorithm. The case is cold, but it is not closed. Oyutaro, if you're watching this and you have information about the Zodiac Killer, even something that seems small, the San Francisco Police Department still accepts tips. Cold cases have been solved with less. If you found this video interesting, subscribe. Every Monday we go deep on the cases, events, and stories that history tried to forget. I'll see you next week.